All right. It has been a minute. So,
Hello.
Welcome to
MPGP
P
murders
per
gallon.
of popcorn. I thought we were going to say it at the same time.
Popcorn.
I'll edit that in.
Corn pop.
Corn pop. Y'all remember when Joe Biden said the most disturbing story of all time about corn pop? If not, you guys should.
Corn pop is a man.
Corn pop is a man. You should YouTube Joe Biden corn pop.
Corn pop is a man that he was a bad dude. Actually, he wasn't a man. He was a bad dude. And he crossed a young Mr. Biden at the pool. And he almost got slashed with some fucking razor blades that were rusted up in the rain barrel.
Yeah.
Anyways. Murders
per gallon of pop.
Corn pop.
I'm Haley.
I'm Craig.
And yeah, we're gonna be talking about some spooky movies.
But first, I guess we should explain where the fuck we've been for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, I became famous on Triscuits.
Wow, that's what you remember from the last 2 weeks?
It was Mother's Day.
Really? All this stuff happened?
Craig became famous drinking Lone Star beer.
Oh yeah, I got, what do you call it? I got,
reposted.
Shared on Lone Star's story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fucking famous, bro.
But even more impressive is that I got put on in my vegan cheese board Instagram. Triscuits. I fucking love Triscuits, y'all. They're my favorite cracker for all of your cheese needs. I've always loved Triscuits. So I always tag them in my posts because I always use Triscuits in my cheese board posts. And they DM'd me in one where I look so hot. And they're like, can we please repost this picture? And I'm looking at the Triscuits page and it's literally just crackers. There's not really any faces or anything. And I'm like, this seems like a weird choice, but sure. I'm wearing a, little crop top looking snatched for the summer.
What does that mean?
I think that means looking hot, but
let's go with that.
I don't know. I've heard it on TikTok. Besides being famous and all of that fun stuff, we've been preparing a new podcast format because we've talked about this before a bunch of times. Basically, obviously, as y'all know, when we do our podcast, we basically go through we have our Bantah section, we have production facts, we go through the plot for the chunk of the episode, and then at the end we go through the kills and then give it our rating and all that stuff. And we both kind of felt like we were focusing too much on telling every detail of the plot in order, all of this stuff, that I think it just sort of became okay, well, we're basically retelling the movie.
You could watch the movie. Our podcast is longer than the movie.
Yeah.
So you could just go watch the movie. Yeah, I just think that it would be a much more enjoyable experience, especially for us, but maybe also to listen to, if it's just us talking about our thoughts on the movie more than us talking, just retelling the plot.
Correct.
Because we're gonna spoil the fuck out of it either way. So
yeah.
Let's just talk about the funny shit.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, needless to say, we record these usually at 8 p.m. at night, and then it's we record it for 2 to 3 hours, and by the end of it, which is the juicy part, I think, when the fun part about talking about the whole movie, now that we've gone over the plot, is hearing our thoughts and shit, and we kind of rush through that. So anyways, we're doing shit different. We still are doing a little plot summary though, and when I say little, I mean I got it to a paragraph. And y'all, I'm very impressed with my
let's
writing.
summarize Friday the 13th in as few words as possible, the series.
The series?
Yeah, I just as a fun exercise because
I like that.
So, alright, how about this? Boy drowned through neglect. Mother Mom seeks revenge. Is this coherent?
Yeah.
Mom seeks revenge. Kills kids who... kills counselors at the site of the murder.
Okay, we're at 16.
The whole series, though? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Jason.
Wait. Okay. If you're gonna restart, I want to try. I'm gonna try now. Okay. Boy drowns in lake. Mom kills counselors. Then, boy ends up alive. Murders people for
Ever.
Forever.
Perfect. You win.
That was like 15.
Now there's some more twists and turns in there.
Like, it's literally just... Okay, what if we actually described... Okay, we do, like, one word to describe each movie. So, like, okay.
One word?
Yeah, so the first... Like, and it doesn't have to, like, necessarily describe,
okay,
but it has to...
I'll do it right now.
Okay.
I'll do it off the cuff. 1, mommy. 2, bag. 3, D. Not even just a letter.
That's good.
4, I'm gonna say Tommy. Maybe.
Okay.
5, copycat.
Ooh, that's good.
6, Frankenstein.
Okay.
7, Carrie.
Yes.
8, Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
9, which is
the one that
this one.
The one that we're reviewing today.
How about we say Crichton?
Just
kidding.
Oh.
Tommy isn't a word.
Tommy.
Tommy.
I don't. You could do Tommy or like, death.
All right, now let's hear yours. Are they the same?
Okay, like I would say like mothers first, second.
Yeah, no names. Let's do that.
Oh, that's hard. Okay.
Because
mothers first.
Say...
Yeah. Adult is second because I want to do something different so that like we're facing Jason as an adult in the second one. Third. 3 is barn.
3 is a very barn heavy movie.
There's lots of shit happens in the barn in 3.
I love how, depending on who's directing the series, Crystal Lake is either like a fucking, like, it's always in New Jersey, but the locations look like, and the people act like country,
Mm-hmm.
or it's like, whatever you, like, someone said Midwestern in terms of these people.
4, twins.
That's your summary of part 4 is summarized in one word.
I'm trying to do different shit than
Here's
you.
new word associations,
5.
I guess.
5. Dad. 6. Meta.
Mm-hmm, that's good.
7. Garbage. 8. Cruise. 9, the best Friday the 13th movie.
Wow. That's not one word.
Alright, should we just start getting into the movie of our... Okay, well, like, should we do our little reveal thing of what movie we're talking about? I mean, even though we already kind of did.
And I've spoiled it on the Instagram account.
True.
Jason Goes to Hell, the Final Friday.
Made in 1993.
Also known as, in our world, Friday the 13th, Part 9. Jason Goes to Hell.
The Final Friday.
3 subtitles for that.
This movie, let's get into some production facts. Made in 1993, so we've officially reached the 90s for the series.
Yeah, and it's the biggest gap in the series so far.
Yeah.
Because usually it's like one a year. And this one, there was some like a change in production company.
Mm-hmm.
New Line bought the rights to the character of Jason from Paramount.
Yeah.
So that probably had the series in limbo for a few years
mm-hmm.
because they were disappointed in the like.
Yeah, because Jason Takesman did so poorly.
Yeah,
Paramount was like, I don't fucking give a shit about
They're like, whatever, he's fucking done. No one cares anymore. On to the next thing. We're doing Chucky now or something.
Well, also, like, at that time, I mean, like, the early 90s, the slasher movies were kind of, like, dying down in money-making popularity, I would say.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Because of what we just said, New Line Cinema finally gets the rights to Jason Voorhees, the character, which means we're one step closer to Jason versus Freddy. But that doesn't happen in this movie, or does it?
We get a little teaser.
But anyways, because, you know, we're at part 9 at this point, so, and New Line was like, what the fuck ever, like, let's just take a fucking risk.
I would also call this like a soft reboot.
Yeah, I would say
because it's new production house. So in today's standards, like with the Marvel movies and shit, so like with Spider-Man, the Spider-Man that's in the current Marvel movies played by Tom Holland, that's his name, right? Mm-hmm. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Anyways, Tom Holland Spider-Man, that's only a few years after that other Andrew Garfield played Spider-Man, mm-hmm. but it was like a switch in ownership of the character or something, like where now they both own this character of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a reboot,
mm-hmm.
another reboot, even though it's only a few years later. A similar thing happened here where the character just switched production houses, and now they're like, okay, yeah, whatever. They did all that stuff at that other place, Paramount.
Mm-hmm.
They did that. We're doing this now, so we can change the rules. So they introduce characters that have never been mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
They start out the movie in a place where the audience who has been watching these movies from the beginning is completely lost. You're like, wait a second. Last time we saw Jason, he was
melting in
the sewer and vomiting water and
disintegrating into his
a boy,
former child self.
So when we last saw Jason, he was a zombie that was melting in toxic sludge, and then he was a pristine boy that was dead. Dead but pristine. Inside Jason.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're here, and Jason looks completely different.
Mm-hmm.
What does Jason look like?
He has, like...
That's crazy.
Well, so at this point, the mask is almost of a metallic sheen. His mask is also it's kind of engraved in his head, and we see his brain and shit, and he also has like a few strands of long hair.
Doesn't it almost look like his face got like peeled off, and that's just what Jason's like skeleton looks
Yeah.
like. Like it's just like the
Yeah.
skin around his face is like around the like mask. It's like
yeah.
like the skin on the top of his head and like the sides of his head is like enveloping the mask.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what the fuck happened to you, Jason? Like,
Bro.
did you just like swell up and you're fucking like...
I mean, I guess he has, well, they do not explain how he got from Manhattan to back to Crystal Lake, basically. But
And that's why
I would say
it's a
he
soft
might be like, you know, Jason is typically waterlogged, I would say. So that
He's
it
wet
kind
boy.
of looks like a little bit of like maybe potential like water deterioration, but
like he's bloaty.
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so since it is a soft reboot with a completely different production company, but it was still produced by Sean S. Cunningham, our boy, who
Our fucking dude who brought the whole thing together with the first movie.
yeah. And it was directed by a first-time director named Adam Marcus, who is 23 years old. And we also watched a bonus feature on our Scream Factory Blu-ray disc set. And he had a lot of interesting things to say, which we'll get into later. But yeah, it is very... Like, I honestly, like, when I found out he was 23 looking into this, I was literally like, that is so fucking dope that, like, someone that young was able to, like, make this movie.
It's insane.
And it's literally insane.
It's insane that, it's hard to find big budget movies made by someone that young in any genre. In any time, I would say, right? Like...
Mm-hmm.
To be 20, like, how does that even happen? He probably got out of film school when he was
like,
22.
Literally.
So his first movie out of film school is like the first Jason movie under a new production company.
Yeah.
Like,
wild.
It's obviously going to be seen by a lot of people. Like, at this point, it's number 9. It's like an iconic franchise that's still making a decent amount of money.
Yeah. Around the time it came out, well, first of all, the budget was $3 million, which is actually kind of low. With all the guns and explosions there was.
That's kind of interesting. Yeah. And a good point. It's like Jason Takes Manhattan cost him $5 million to make.
Mm-hmm.
I remember us learning with the last podcast. We said that. So this one takes less money to make than that, but you up the gore by a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I would say there's, like, way more gore. Like, in weird, like, intricate gore scenes with, like, highly detailed bodily dismemberment and shit.
Yeah,
you know?
dude.
In this one, compared to the last one, like, what did they spend their $5 million on in the last one? Literally just to shoot in Times Square? That's
New York,
fucking it? Like,
shooting in New York and shooting in California, I think, would probably be, like... I think especially shooting on location in New York would be
just
the most
for, like, those
expensive
few
thing.
scenes?
I know, and I'm trying to remember of, like, other shit. I'm sure they had to, like... I mean, they had a child actor that I feel like comes with shit. They had, like... There's so many things, but I honestly think the biggest, like... I'm sure it was a lot of money to shoot in Times Square. Like, I feel like that ate up the budget, like, hardcore. So when you're when you're shooting in a fucking studio... Like, you can... That, you know, there's always, like, ways to, like... cuts parts of the budgets to make the other parts of the budget better. I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It almost makes me think, like, yeah, maybe they should have just shot the whole movie in a studio or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Is it really that fucking expensive to shoot around New York? Like,
yeah, because you get, like, all these, like, permits and shit.
Look
and I
at
think
fucking,
it's
like, Marriage Story or something. Or, like, I don't
yeah,
know,
but,
Birdman
like,
or something. Like, those are big movies, but they're all over New York.
Well,
like,
I'm sure they're they're expensive. We can look up the budget.
They gotta be more expensive than this.
Oh, 1,000%. I feel like a $3 million budget for a feature is like actually not a lot.
No, I mean, yeah,
At
it's
all.
not. It's not. But in terms of $5 million being the most expensive film of the franchise at that point, to go back down to $3 million, it's like they accomplished a lot with like doing even less money than the last one. I was unimpressed by the look of the last movie, but this one, just in terms of like, it just looks more produced.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I mean, like, even the first, like, so the last one was the most expensive budget, but, like, when you think about it, like, these movies don't need a huge budget. Like, these movies, like, well, typically, unless it's, like, something crazy happens, like an FBI sting or, I don't know, or, you know, going to Times Square, but... Yeah, and it ended up making $18 million domestically and became one of New Line Video's largest releases ever.
And I would like to just add in as an aside, I've had two separate friends say in reference to the series of Friday the 13th and us doing the podcast, tell us, like, I remember when I was young, like, going to the video store and seeing the Jason Goes to Hell cover with the metallic mask and, like, the snake thing, and drawing it, or, like, just, like, being, like, mesmerized by it. To Garrett and Jason, our friends, mentioned that, and that's just, like, almost a testimony to how well it did on, like, the home video market,
dude,
or whatever. That it was so, like, it was such a big deal at the time. Everyone had this fucking VHS, and it was at all the Blockbusters and promoted as, like, a VHS tape so heavily that that's what it is known as being, like.
Yeah, man. Should I get into my little quick summary that I'm very proud of writing?
Yeah, let's hear
Let's
hear the plot summary.
Okay.
Okay.
Jason gets blown to bits in an FBI sting, but his soul lives on as he possesses various townfolk of Crystal Lake. His ultimate goal is to possess someone of the Voorhees bloodline, meaning the secret sister Diana, her daughter Jessica, or Jessica's daughter Stephanie, #baby Jason. But the bounty hunter Creighton Duke knows that while only a Voorhees can bring Jason back from the dead, only a Voorhees can also bring Jason to his demise. And Jessica's baby daddy, Steven, will do anything to save his daughter and the love of his life. After stacking body after body, Jason is finally stabbed by the magic Voorhees dagger by Jessica and gets dragged to hell by weird demon hands and also Freddy Krueger. Did I do a good job?
That's a pretty good job.
And obviously we're going to go into more detail about certain parts of the plot, what have you, but that is the basic summary, and, you know, you could always watch the movie if you're curious to know even more.
So, basically, Jason in this movie dies in the first scene, and then his spirit possesses different host bodies who do the killing for him, and he's doing all of this attempting to get to his sister's daughter, his niece's daughter, his great niece. He wants to possess this fucking baby girl so he can be a little baby girl and come back as big scary man Jason. It makes complete sense. And there's this guy, he's like kind of a cowboy bounty hunter guy named Creighton Duke. And that's all you need to know, really.
All right, guys. So now that we've done a little quick summary, we're going to go through the kill count. So our first victim of Jason Goes to Hell the final Friday is say that 5 times fast is Jason Voorhees, who gets blown to bits in an FBI sting.
Literally blown to bits by tons of guns and artillery. Like,
yeah, we should talk about that scene because
and he gets blasted with like stadium lights.
Yeah. It's honestly so like basically like the movie opens with a woman doing basically everything iconic about these Friday the 13th movies. Powers out, like, you know, checks the generator, takes a shower, gets naked, like all of this shit, like it's all of these.
She goes
like,
through a window.
Yeah.
Jason chases after her, like it's like a formulaic Friday the 13th lead up to a kill, basically.
And all of a sudden, so she's running in an open field and we see Jason coming for her and after her. And then all of these floodlights come and we see like basically like a fuck ton of FBI agents.
In like SWAT gear.
And they just like the most guns ever in a Friday the 13th movie. They just fucking like annihilate Jason with these guns and then explode him to the point where he's blown to smithereens and then like
just chunks of meat.
His head and heart are like the only things like salvageable, basically.
And his heart is still pumping. Mm-hmm. But what's it pumping? It's not pumping blood. It's pumping black
sludge.
Viscous fluid, they say. They literally say, "Oh, what's this? It's not blood. It's black viscous fluid."
And we're like
very good observation.
Good
Doc.
analysis. So yeah, that was sick and iconic. There is a fucking huge explosion. Like me and Craig were watching it and we were so. It was actually because we went into this completely blind. It was like a real surprise for us to like all of a sudden see all this shit. It was they really started it with a bang.
Especially since we'd never seen this movie. Either of us had ever seen this movie, like going in blind. I hadn't watched or read anything about it really. And so we were expecting it to be just like every other movie where they pretty much pick up where the last one left off and kind of like tie it all together, or like there will be characters that are reoccurring from movie to movie. And there was none of that in this one. It just starts off, Jason's back alive. There he is. He's in Crystal Lake. He looks completely different. He's not dead. Go figure. So that was shocking. And then to just see that he gets killed by it's like almost you're watching a comedy. It's like Scary Movie or something. Mm-hmm. Like a parody of Friday the 13th. Like, it's just, what the fuck?
It's crazy.
People shoot Jason, like they trap Jason and shoot him. But it kind of makes sense too, because if Jason had been in Crystal Lake killing all these fucking people,
like his body count was like hundreds of people at that point.
Yeah, he had to have at least killed over 100 people at this point. So like 20 people a movie. So yeah, the fucking FBI would be on that shit. They'd be like, you can't just have this small ass town where there's not even that many people and hundreds of people die brutally murdered. And we know who it is, and like, and
it's just like, like, what are you supposed to do?
Because it's like folklore.
Yeah, it's so fucking funny, and at this point, it's like everyone knows who Jason is. Everyone in the world knows who Jason is.
Jason has to be fucking famous, like a famous serial killer at this point. He's a zombie. Just the fact that Jason won't die, and everyone knows that Jason will kill you. Like, Jason can't be killed, and
Yeah.
he's like gonna get you if you like do any fuck around at all on Crystal Lake. You're gonna die basically at this point. I'm like, but just the fact that Jason is a zombie, like that revelation would be like it would be all anyone talked about for like 5 years.
Yeah.
The zombies are real now.
Can you imagine if like what happened in all of the Friday the 13th films happened in our world? Like that would be fucking crazy.
I mean, this is where like they really fucking jumped the shark with the series. I think part 6 laid the groundwork for like what Friday the 13th was going to be like from there on out, and it gave them permission to just like go crazy places with it. Because part 6, it adds in all these like elements that are unexpected, like the James Bond reference and the fucking meta humor, and like all these weird scenes, weird lines, head in the lap. Like I don't know. Yeah. It's just like that's a weird movie tonally for the series. The first weird movie. And then from there, you're just like, okay, at this point, Jason's is brought back to like life. He's a zombie. Anything can happen. Like, the movies can be like self-referencing and like off the wall, and like basically any creative idea a director has, they can put it into.
Yeah, it's like if you get pinned to direct a late term Friday the 13th movie, you're basically going to make the film of your fucking dreams. Like, literally. It just gives you permission to do whatever the fuck you want.
Which is cool, and which I feel like is missing from modern filmmaking. Totally.
Speaking of doing whatever the fuck you want, if you get pinned to make a Friday the 13th movie, the next death that we'll talk about is the assistant coroner. So what happens with him is when Jason's body is taken to a morgue, the first coroner gets compelled by Jason's like brain or something. It's literally just his heart, his head, and just like a sum of body parts, which I don't even know. Knowing what you know about Jason, why would you put his body parts close together in any way? I feel like you should just burn him. But I guess also they wanted to research him and all that fun stuff. So you see like Jason's head on the table, and it's kind of like giving off vibes of some sort, and the guy takes Jason's heart and starts eating his heart. And basically, there's lights and all this shit entering the first coroner's body. And he becomes, like, essentially possessed by Jason Voorhees, essentially. So the assistant coroner comes back, and he's played by the screenwriter for this movie, Dean Lorey.
So the assistant coroner comes on screen, and this guy is like he's with the coroner, who is like actively surveying the body parts, and the assistant is just like, oh, you get to hack up Mr. Voorhees, you're a lucky guy, like I bet you're saying you can say and do whatever you want to his disembodied corpse parts. Like, he's basically like, that's cool. You know what I would say? I would tell Jason, I would take a crap on Jason's hockey mask.
And then the coroner takes the assistant coroner, smashes his head in the like grated like table thing, and then stabs him in the back of the head. So outside of the coroner's office, there's like those two FBI guys, because they're still guarding like outside of Jason's door just in case he comes back again, because that's completely within the realm of possibilities at this point. But they were not expecting the coroner to come out possessed, and I think they were like fucking with him, kind of. They were just like, oh, how's it look? How's that? Oh, they start. Oh my god. Okay. So the coroner's just gonna walk out of the thing to like go pursue his mission, and the two FBI agents that are sitting to find the Voorhees women. Because he knows. I feel like he...
Yeah, but don't call him the coroner. Call him Jason. That's Jason now.
Oh, yeah. So, Jason in the coroner's body. We'll just say Jason every time someone gets possessed. He is just passing these two FBI agents, and they're literally, like, talking shit about Jason. And you see, like, a POV shot of him, like, walking past, and then he stops, and then he looks, and then you see him, and one of the FBI agents is Kane Hodder.
Is that the same scene where you see Jason in the reflection as he's walking up?
Yeah, it is.
So, apparently Jason is like a vampire, a reverse vampire, and instead of not being seen, no reflection, you see Jason instead of what you should see reflected.
Yeah.
Which is the coroner's body. No, that you just see giant Jason.
Brain Jason.
That doesn't make...
Jason.
That type of, like, thing doesn't make sense to me. Like, even with vampires and shit, too. Because it's like... Okay, so let's say you hold up the baby Voorhees. In the reflection, are you just like holding Jason's body? Like you're like arms?
Yeah.
Like that's not the same mass. Like
yeah.
If Jason were to possess the baby, like he
like
wants to.
Okay, if Jason were to possess the baby and the baby crawled.
Like it would be Jason crawling. Like that's different masses. That's different masses.
Okay, but do we think because at the end of the movie when Jason possessed the mom, Diana's body, he ended up just being Jason and not a possessed Diana. So I think just if he possesses a Voorhees of any age or form, like dead, alive, baby, he just becomes Jason again.
Oh, that's true.
But
that's true.
I do like the idea.
But still, he could have possessed a child. He could have possessed a dog based on like, the logic we have with this new form of Jason.
Jason as an entity.
So Jason is a fucking like muscular snake monster. He's a fucking tongue. He's a swole tongue with a face that slithers around. He's like a fucking... He's like the alien chest burster. Mm-hmm. He's like a fucking bloody mass of like meat. I don't know.
Yeah.
The essence of Jason isn't the heart. Like the heart was still beating, but like apparently you have to kill the heart to kill Jason. But and when Jason died, light left his body and fucking. Okay,
it's like
whatever.
It's like this whole fucking like. Is this whole different fucking thing that's completely different than like anything we've seen. We're used to seeing Jason just come back to life as like a brute zombie, but now it's like there's a mystic element to Jason Voorhees, you know? And
I even wrote down in my notes, I was like, the things that Jason is composed of. Like, what is inside Jason's body? There's some light. So Jason could be like light, an evil light that is either like reddish yellow in tint or blue. It's either one. There's like this weird snake tongue demon that comes out of like whoever he possesses mouth. Is that Jason? It has a face. Like there's a scene where it's slithering around on its own. So that like snake meaty worm Jason is inside Jason. That's Jason.
What if he had a mini hockey mask on?
In the last movie in Manhattan, Jason died in the sewer and all of his zombie skin melted away and it was just this like Jason's inner child. It was like Jason as a baby, or as a
like a normal
kid. Yeah. And then also Jason is this like black viscous jelly that's inside his heart. What is that supposed to be?
Evil.
Is that just like the lake water that he spewed out of his mouth in the last movie?
It might, yeah. I mean, it might just like be further, because like Jason hasn't been human since 3, I feel, or since, I would say since 3, because at 3 he kind of did die. He went to the morgue and just like came back to life somehow, I would say.
Yeah, Jason,
so I would say he's just like not a human being, so his veins run with...
In 3, he gets hung.
Yeah.
He gets pushed out of the barn and hung. And
in the axe,
he turns around and stares at the final girl, and he like he's hanging like he would have died. He fell out of a window and fell like more than 6 feet and fell onto a rope around his neck. That would have killed a man. But Jason is just, he dies for a second, kind of, and then he lifts up on the rope and then reveals his face and, like, does a smile, like Sloth from the Goonies, and then just, like, frees himself from the noose and then goes on, like, attacking the final girl.
Yeah.
And then that's when she puts the axe in his fucking head, which also would have killed a fucking person if an axe went into your head. So, like... 3 inches deep or something. Like, it slits a fucking slit in his mask. It's like 3 to 4 inches deep. So, Jason would have died. He's laying on the ground in the middle of the barn. They get taken away to safety. He gets hauled off in the ambulance. And then part 4 starts. And he's just back to life. He just fucking comes back to life while they're watching that workout DVD or VHS or whatever. He's like jerking off or something.
It was like...
They had sex on the couch or something. It was like...
Yes. And Jason's like hand touched the nurse.
Yeah, so at that point, Jason should have been dead. Like, I am of the belief that Jason was a zombie even then, honestly.
Yeah.
Because what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So at this
point,
he doesn't...
And then part 4, Tommy Jarvis really fucking ends his life.
Yes. Period, ends his life. Dead and buried.
He hacks him in the head with the machete, and then he lands on the machete. It slides down his face, cutting his face in half. And then Jason's hand trembles. He like thinks he's dead at that point, but then he moves his hand a little bit. And then Tommy Jarvis is like, "Oh fuck no!" And then he's just like, "Die, die, die!" and kills him a bunch of times.
Yeah,
that actually killed him for some reason, even though in the previous movie he didn't die at the end.
Yeah.
So that kills him. He gets buried. He stays buried for an entire movie, but then brought back to life when he's unburied by Tommy Jarvis and struck by lightning in a lightning rod in his chest.
And then from then on, they kind of... He's just like... He doesn't die again until 8. Until he takes Manhattan. Because he,
in 6, he doesn't necessarily, like, die.
They bury
Since
him
he's
in
a
the
zombie,
water.
they just, like, chain him to the Crystal Lake floor, the floor of the lake.
And a similar thing happens in 7.
And in 7, he's
dragged by the Carrie character's dead father. Drags him to the bottom of Crystal Lake.
Weird.
Just bizarre.
And then in 8, he dies again.
But he, like, dies. He was supposed to die in 8. And then New Line Cinema bought the rights to Jason Voorhees, so they brought him back to life again.
He, like, dies, but he also doesn't.
Yeah. And I guess he kind of technically dies, but also doesn't in this movie.
I mean, at the end of 8, he is, like, alive and screaming when the toxic sludge splashes on him. But then, like, you see the inner boy. Then what happens to that boy? Does he just disappear.
I feel like that was like a symbolic death that like
It was,
Yeah.
but like what? How did that scene end when they showed
they just
Jason melting into his inner child?
he was just like
Did the inner child then disintegrate, or did he disappear, or was it just a hard cut to the?
No, I think it was honestly just a hard cut to them walking in Times Square.
Wow.
I literally feel like that happened. Because I think the last shot of the kid is just him in, like, the fetal position. And then they're in Times Square and then get reunited with the dog. So.
Wow.
Well, Jason's dead as dirt, so everyone thinks. And a few townspeople are... I mean, the whole town of Crystal Lake is celebrating. And a few...
There's a burger sale.
Yeah.
There's a 2-for-1 burger sale that's like Jason is dead at Joey B's.
Yes, Joey B's is a main setting for this movie. And they very tastefully are selling Jason burgers. Would you eat a Jason burger?
I want to recreate the Jason burger with the Beyond Burger.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
We wrote a note that we were gonna do that for. It could be a plant-based boards MPGP crossover.
Oh my god, let's do that next week.
Basically, Joey B has the fry cook, which is her son. Her son Ward or something.
Yeah.
He's digging out hockey mask holes and eye holes into each meat patty that he's grilling, and I'm like, dude, that makes it the Jason burger. Like, you better serve it to them open faced.
Yeah,
because how?
And then you write the little lines with the ketchup.
How the fuck are you gonna know that there's holes in that meat patty unless you serve it to them open face, bro?
Joey B. But yeah, these basically 3 teens get a ride to Camp Crystal Lake.
Is it a camp? It's just
I thought they said
the town is called Crystal Lake.
Yeah, but the 3 kids were like, we want to go to Camp Crystal Lake because Jason's dead and we know that he won't get us, basically.
And we can fuck.
Yeah, basically they're like
trying to want to go to the site of Camp Crystal Lake. Yeah. I don't think there's currently a camp.
Oh yeah, no.
They want to go to the site of Camp Crystal Lake. So at this point it's probably just an woods. Abandoned fucking wooded area in the town of Crystal Lake.
Yeah. And it's a couple, Luke and Deborah, and a third wheel named Alexis, and they get a ride from Steven, who's the baby daddy to Jessica. And Alexis tries to fuck Steven and he's like, nah. But we are coming up on one of the best kills, probably of the series, which is, like, I mean, Alexis gets, like, slashed in the face a bunch of times, and Luke gets killed off screen, but Deborah...
And it's also the most gratuitous sex scene in the entire Friday the 13th franchise thus far. It's like
we see people having sex.
They're slowly like fucking. They're like fully fucking in multiple different positions. Like
it's like you see him like pull up, like they're like tent. Fully naked, having full on sex. Apparently they were exes at the point that this was filmed. So
well, they weren't wearing a condom either.
Oh, that's a big thing. So.
Right,
like
that was
scene. That was a big thing. So there's a like purposeful shot of them throwing the condom away, so not using the condom. And the director Adam Marcus was like, so I don't want it to be you have sex, you die. I want it to be you have unsafe sex, you die. So
but also it's like you don't know their relationship. She could be on birth control. They could be fluid bonded lovers. They could do this. They could be dating for 5 years.
I know, but
it could still be safe sex.
It's true, but I don't know if like the 90s was like. I guess birth control has been around.
The pill has been around for a while.
I feel like whenever I watch
like women's liberation.
Yeah, I feel like whenever I watch like Sex in the City or some shit from that time, it'll be like my diaphragm, and I'm like, ew, that doesn't seem fun.
Your diaphragm.
Yeah, like diaphragms. I think that's like when it's basically kind of like, I guess, a NuvaRing, but I also don't really know. And also like Elaine with the sponge, the whole sponge episode.
The sponging episode of
And
Seinfeld.
is he worth a sponge?
I want to get some of those spermicidal sponges.
Yeah.
I want to try that.
So I'm like, okay, like the condom might be the safest option at this point, but maybe not. Or maybe birth control is just really hard to get because of, the current.
I think they just wanted to show Jason stepping on a condom right before he kills the bitch.
Definitely. So, Jason takes some kind of, like, I think it's like a tent stake or something.
Yeah, I would say it's a tent stake, but also, like, if you're just watching the movie, it kind of looks like a sword. If you were to just show some of the scene, you'd be like, oh yeah, he slashed them with a sword.
And
it's sharp, it's pointy, it's long.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't think anyone would actually stake a tent with that.
Exactly.
He stabs through the tent while Deborah is on top, riding that fucking dick. And she
with her head held back, like throwing her hair back.
She's
and
like about
boobs
to come.
On full display.
Yeah. And he gets impaled. She gets impaled through, and then ripped open in half, like Terrifier style, in like the craziest gore.
Well, they actually show the whole scene, which is like rare for this franchise at this point.
We did watch the unrated version, but I think this was probably cut from the horror.
We always watch the if there's an unrated version or like a more uncut version or a director's cut, we always watch whatever has more scenes. So we're not watching like the theatrical version.
Yeah.
Apparently this scene was cut in the original theatrical version, and I'm just like, that's like the best kill of the movie is her, because it's like she gets stabbed. That was already pretty crazy, and I thought it was gonna end there, and then she
gets ripped in half
up and out of her body from where he stabbed her, and I was like,
that
crazy.
They didn't have to go that hard, but they did. And imagine just making probably like the coolest death in all of the Friday the 13th movies so far. One of them, in my opinion, maybe the coolest. And because of rating, you just have, and like
you cut it from
all of the like time and getting that just right. I'm sure that was such a nightmare to film, and then it's
to make that look good.
Oh my God.
Imagine you're just like a special effects artist, and your job is to make this kill look as realistic as possible and really like sell it. So they probably had to make an entire torso and head body or something to. When it was cut in half, like that had to have all been a prop.
Yeah.
So an entire human body prop that looks as realistic as it did, so they could cut it in half,
Yeah, and it looks good. Like, even in the still that I have, like, it looks, like, real. Like, it looks good. Because sometimes, like, you see, like, the practical effects in a still, and you're like, you can see that it's, like, obviously a dummy and shit. But this one was chef's kiss.
Yeah, that was a good kill.
We get a character named Edna who's like dating a cop. Her head gets crushed, and then the cop gets like kidnapped by Jason, who is in the body of Coroner Phil. What ensues after that is Jason strips this man straps him down
to a table, like bondage style, leather straps to the fucking surgical table. Why is that in there? Like, I'm sure every person who watches this movie, their one question is like, why the fuck is that in there? And we watched the commentary from the director, and he was like, I don't know, I just wanted to do like a weird thing that people would talk about.
Yeah. And
there's no explanation as to why Jason shaves the guy. It's literally like the director just thought that people would think it was weird. And he was right.
He was like, I don't know, I just want to fucking do it, man. 23-year-old director, baby. I think that it ended up in like top 10 most homoerotic horror films because of that scene. So he gets passed through from Coroner Phil to this policeman, and that once you're possessed by Jason, you die. But most of the people that get possessed by Jason end up dying off screen. So Coroner Phil dies off screen. So once the policeman is possessed, he finds Diana, who again is the half-sister of Jason Voorhees. They share a father. Who's the father's name again? It's Elias?
Elias, yeah. Elias Voorhees.
Elias Voorhees apparently slept with...
Got around.
Apparently Pamela wasn't his main hoe.
he got around. So the original writer of Friday the 13th, Victor Miller, he's the one in the legal battle with Sean S. Cunningham right now about the rights to the Jason character or whatever. But in his original like screenplay or script or whatever you call that for Friday the 13th, he included the character of Elias, but it's not like there's no detail. It doesn't go into detail about who that character is. It wasn't fleshed out, but Elias apparently is mentioned or something at some point. This is coming from the Friday the 13th.fandom.com wiki. So, who knows? But people are saying on this wiki that Elias and Pamela were like married, and then they had Jason. Jason had these deformities, and Pamela was obsessed with Jason, and that it drove Elias away or something. He like abandoned them.
Yeah.
And then I guess
that makes sense.
Went around sleeping around.
Yeah. And produced Diana, who unfortunately was killed by Jason, and then Jason escaped, and it was pinned on Steven.
So Diana and Steven were together because Diana, at this point in the movie, us as the viewer do not know that Diana is in any way related to Jason.
Yes.
So, that being said, you're wondering, well, at this point in the movie, why is Diana need to tell Steven something? And you're like, who knows? Like, I kind of guessed that they would be related because it just seemed weird the way they introduced the characters.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so Steven, it took me a while to put together that Steven was Diana's daughter's
baby daddy
/ ex-boyfriend.
Because also Diana looks young, so I thought that she was gonna be like, I didn't realize that she was a mother to an adult child
with a daughter.
Yeah.
So Diana, what she wants to tell Steven is she wants to reveal to Steven. What I didn't tell you was that Diana is actually related to Jason Voorhees. That's like what she
wanted to say.
Clairvoyantly wants to reveal this piece of information.
Because Creighton Duke
talk to Steven.
talk to Diana, and then Diana was like, oh shit, I gotta like tell other people what I know, and then she ends up dying. And we should definitely have a full...
When Diana dies, Steven like fights Jason as
the deputy officer, Deputy Josh.
Deputy Josh. So Steven fights him, pushes him out of a window. Defenestration. What it's called.
Yeah.
So then he's lying on the ground outside of the window. Kind of similar to when Roy Burns dies in part 5. You see from inside the house looking down Jason dead on the ground. And then it cuts away and Steven's like talking to Diana or like looking at her body or something. And then the cops show up and Steven's like, yeah, his body's right here. And then like points to where Jason was and he's nowhere to be seen. And then it looks like he just murdered Diana because there's blood on his hands. He's literally caught red-handed and there's no other fucking killer.
Yeah.
To be seen, and he's talking about Jason Voorhees being back, but he possessed some police officer, and then the other police officer is probably like, okay,
sure,
you're fucking crazy, bro.
Sure, Steven, you're coming with me. I would definitely say that my favorite kill was, it's gotta be fucking Deborah, just because it was so brutal. It was like, in my opinion, the best kill of the movie, or of the franchise.
Of the whole franchise.
Craig, we see the spear go through her. She, first of all,
we need to figure out who did special effects on this, because we always shouted out Tom Savini, but if you think this is the best kill of the franchise, we should give them some shouts.
So, shouts to Al Magliochetti.
Italian ass.
For doing these sick ass effects, because these are like fucking sick.
Tom Savini.
Al
Magliochetti.
I would say the other one, I'm just going to say that the fucking... my favorite Jason death, because there's 2 technically in this, is when he gets blown to goddamn smithereens by the FBI. That was like the most iconic thing ever. What are your favorite deaths?
Yeah, I mean, the fucking getting the sword spike. What was it that killed her?
I really feel like
it looked like a fucking sword. It looked like a fucking like medieval times ass sword. It's like long and pointy at the end.
It's something that he found at the campsite. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, the tent kill where he stabs from outside of the tent through her body and then lifts it up and just splits her down the middle. That's by far the coolest visual kill. It's the most shocking. It comes after the craziest sex scene in the movie. That's definitely like one of the best kills.
Yeah.
So that one's got to be mentioned. And yeah, I mean, it's sick. That one, the body melting kill.
Yeah.
I guess that was Deputy Josh.
Yeah.
So that kill basically just exists to show what happens to you when Jason leaves your possessed corpse.
Yeah.
So he like, the evil like possesses your body or something, and like then once Jason leaves you, you're just left like decaying rapidly. So in a very like Cronenberg-esque body horror scene, you see this fucking deputy melt and like his jaw fall onto the ground. His like skin is oozing and sticking to like every surface it touches, and
it's so nasty. And I feel like unlike
nasty.
What's cool about this movie is that there's so many like, I feel like there's this supernatural element that we didn't get in the previous films, like beyond like Jason obviously coming back to life. I guess we do see a little bit of that melty vibe in Jason Takes Manhattan, but that's like, this is like the first time we see a supernatural related death, like in Friday the 13th. You know what I mean? Where it's literally like the cause of death isn't Jason hitting you with a machete. It's not him throwing you against a fucking tree in a sleeping bag. It's not his brute strength that's killing you. It's his soul is tarnishing your insides.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? That's fucking... I fucking love this movie, man. It's so good.
It's also, I just want to say that watching the commentary from the director, Adam Marcus, is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Watching the commentary from the director Adam Marcus was very enlightening to like his points of reference for the movie. So he was looking at the other Friday the 13th films, Sam Raimi's Evil Dead trilogy. He was looking at John Carpenter's The Thing, David Cronenberg movies,
The Terminator.
The Terminator. It's all of these are very obvious when he says it. Like it makes total sense. Like I can see where each one comes, but that body melting scene specifically obviously is very Cronenberg, but it also reminds me of Hellraiser and Frank coming out of the floor.
Yeah.
Because you see this deputy melting into the ground and he's like hugging the floor and his skin is oozing onto the floor and he's like lifting his bones and like his jaw is falling off his face onto the ground. It looks like when Frank is materializing from like flesh and you see like the bones lift up from the ground. That's something I thought about. And also so Adam Marcus was very influenced by Evil Dead and Sam Raimi's Evil Dead trilogy. The Necronomicon is actually in this fucking movie. Not just like the concept of the Necronomicon, but the actual Necronomicon from Evil Dead is in the movie. He like borrowed it. He asked to borrow the fucking prop. So the specific scene from Evil Dead that this scene reminds me of is at the end of Evil Dead 1 when there's that like stop motion animation, like claymation / canned corn, creamed corn special effects scene of the like giant zombie thing melting into the ground. That this scene reminds me of that with the decomposition, like expanded rapid decomposition.
And just going back to the Necronomicon.
The Necronomicon. All my vegans out there, I know you know about the Veganomicon.
What's a Veganomicon?
It's just a famous cookbook.
Oh shit! Is it supposed to like be a play on? Oh, that's cool.
Well, the Necronomicon is like a concept that I think H.P. Lovecraft came up with. It's like just like an unholy book of the dead. It's like a demonic possessed book.
That's cool that exists then.
But the Veganomicon is just like it's like the holy book of vegan cooking. It just like teaches you a bunch of like vegan basics. Anyways.
But like I like that I feel like this movie could have been really fucking lame if they chose to be like, oh my gosh, the Necronomicon, this is why Jason always comes back from the dead. Pamela Voorhees actually did this and all this stuff, and they don't explain it. It's literally just like Steven goes to the Voorhees house, which apparently existed and is like literally a thing. Also, a funny thing is
I agree with you that it's like whack that they're like, okay, there's a fucking Voorhees house. It's like, yeah, they're springing that on you, but it's like, it's a fucking movie in the fans who get annoyed with this movie because it like breaks the canon or something, being like, Jason never had a sister. You can't just say Jason has a sister now. It's like, give me a fucking break, dude. Yeah. Every movie, Jason... There was the fucking final chapter And now we're at the final Friday. Jason's died every movie since then,
like, basically.
So I'm like, why can't you just, like, be okay with the fact that this is a movie?
Everything, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's, like, okay to change. I'm totally fine with changing canon like that. Mm-hmm. Like, I think you can be a fan of a diehard fan of the franchise and the canon.
Yeah.
And still be okay with people who, like, rewrite the canon.
Yeah, I agree.
It's fine. It's fucking fine. And it's a new production studio. It's, like, a larger gap in time from the previous film than, like, had happened previously in the franchise. So they're, like, trying to come up with new ideas. Like, just... why is this, like, a bad thing? To me, it's, like, fine. I'm totally fine. I'm totally fine with all these oddball, weird changes, screwball shit that happens in this movie.
At the Voorhees house, there is a production assistant spelled Voorhees wrong.
Oh,
and apparently, like, everyone fucking blows up at that shit. I didn't even notice it when I saw it, but...
Yeah, apparently this movie is, like... pretty hated by most fans of the franchise. Like, I would say some of the most controversial movies in this franchise are parts 5, part 8, and part 9, this one. Mm-hmm. So that's Takes Manhattan, and then the movie where Jason's not actually in it. Mm-hmm. So I love part 5. I liked part 8 a lot. And I really like Jason Goes to Hell. Yeah. So I like all the movies that like are a lot of fans
controversial
or think are controversial or like outliers in the franchise. I think I'd rather watch Jason Goes to Hell most nights over like Friday the 13th Part 1.
Yeah, honestly, I agree wholeheartedly. Dude, I fucking love this movie.
If you want to watch if you want the most murders per gallon of popcorn,
this is the one.
This is the fucking movie with the most murders per gallon of popcorn. Yeah. You got one bucket of popcorn, and you're just shoving popcorn in your face while murders are flying across the screen.
You're getting
left
refills.
And right. Yeah.
But you can't take too long to get refills because, like, there's, like, a kill every 3 fucking minutes, basically.
You got your ticket, you got your popcorn, you sit down, and you got fucking, like, while you're eating this popcorn, there's just 100 murders. For your price of admission, there are so many kills.
Exactly. Yeah. So I really love like this. I love that the movie gives us more. It takes the Jason lore in a very mystical direction where he is even more of an entity, and there could be an Evil Dead connection. There is, like, a very blatant Freddy Krueger connection. And I just, like, love how... I'm so happy that New Line got this fucking movie because I feel like it opened the door to just, like... I don't know. I feel like this is a Friday the... I don't know. I fucking love this movie. I don't know.
And I just also want to shout out that I'm a big fan of the kill where the newscaster talk show host guy as Jason, he gets like shot a bunch of times, gets shot in the forehead, but then he's still alive and he smashes these 2 cops' heads together and their like heads explode into this bloody mess. I remember liking that one. Watching it back again after, out of the context of the movie, it wasn't as cool, honestly, but maybe I'm just not remembering all of the kills right now. Oh god, that one with the fucking hand is bad.
Yeah.
That one's bad. What is this a picture of?
Oh, it's just the guy running into the knife.
Yeah, I would say my favorite kills are those 3. So yeah. And Jason, of course. Yeah. The Jason getting blown to bits is fucking crazy. I loved that. It pulled me in from the beginning. And honestly, if you can like capture my attention in that first scene or like at the end, that does a lot for your movie for me, honestly. Like, I think part of the reason why part 7 was such a drag for us was because we were watching a new Friday the 13th movie. We had liked every movie before that.
Yeah.
And it's one we hadn't seen before. So we wanted it to be really cool and good. And then the first scene, you're just like, nothing that cool happens. I'm like,
they showed Jason a bunch of times.
Can there be some funny shit?
Yeah.
Or like...
They showed Jason a bunch of times under the lake, but then there's no crossover in that opening scene. It's literally just like he's just there, and then like there's a whole
drama.
There's a whole melodrama with the fucking child
and the wife beating dad.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's so dumb. Fuck that movie.
So it just didn't like get you excited to watch the rest of the movie. And I was kind of like, come on, like, where's the good shit? This movie, it starts and it's craziness from the beginning. Yeah. You're like, fuck, we're on a fucking ride. Like, you have to start strong.
Yes.
In a movie.
Yes.
And, like, most of them do an okay job. At least, like, some of the other installments in the movie, or installments in the franchise, they, like, lay the groundwork for what's going to happen in the story. Like, early on in the series, you're like... I mean, I take that back. From the very first movie, it starts with a kill flashback. Mm-hmm. It's like, Pamela kills 2 people in the first 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. That's the first movie. You don't know it's Pamela, but there's a kill there. Yeah. And you're like, what the fuck? And then it goes on. It's granted it's more tame or whatever, but anyways... The Jason kill is good. The tent kill is good. The body melting kill is good. And the cops getting their heads smashed together, that's like my honorable mention.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to have an honorable mention just for the entire restaurant sequence when Jason comes. He is still in the news anchor's body. He just left the police station, and he... the sequence of events that happens he fucks up everyone, basically. He fucks up the son. He fucks up the owner. Or the son, he bends his arm backwards. Yeah. To the point where the bones stick out.
Break out of his skin. It's fucking disgusting.
Throws him against the fucking wall. He deep fries one person.
Yeah, you're right. There's some good kills in this fucking movie.
He punches someone to death. He explodes a woman's head.
Like a pimple. There's a fountain of blood that comes out the top of her head.
Yes. In the midst of all of this, there's also... It's majority slow motion. There's so many guns. A diner patron gets shot accidentally.
This is Joey B's we're talking about.
This is the same place that was serving.
Humble diner with the 2-for-1 special on the Jason is Dead burger.
And all this, it's like a fucking massacre. It is so sick though, and it's all slow motion. And Vicky, who's the one whose head gets popped like a fucking pimple, says the titular line where she says,
"Go to hell."
So, Craig, I'm going to say 2 words, and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to your head. Jason Voorhees.
Well, I'm thinking about a little girl in a pink dress sticking a hot dog through a donut.
So that was a very cringe reenactment of probably the best character.
His opening line.
Like, basically his opening line, because before we get into him, there's this also, like, show within the movie that is it's a Dateline knockoff, and there's an anchor, and he basically does this, like, whole fucking thing. There's, like, a hilarious thing where they talk about the 2 FBI agents and the fucking...
Hold up. Also, we need to mention that news anchor is... He's dating Jessica.
So there's a Dateline type show within this movie that basically, this is like our vessel to get the entire story of Jason. He explains everything. So if you're watching if this is your first Friday the 13th movie, this is like the everyone's sitting around the campfire and like you hear about what happened in the previous film, basically. Plot device. And there's the anchor is like a total dickwad. He's dating the daughter because I think he realizes, somehow he knows that Diana, Jessica, and Stephanie, the baby, are all related to Jason Voorhees.
He definitely knows.
So he's exploiting Jessica by dating her. And he literally is like on the phone. This is right before he gets possessed and right before Officer or Deputy Josh like melts into the ground. He's in the Voorhees house and he's basically like, he took Diana's body from the morgue. He basically was like,
he says, and this is a quote, "I stole Diana's body, then I fucked her daughter." He says that while he's on the phone with like the producers of his show or something. He's like, "Yeah, I fucking stole Diana's body, then I fucked her daughter, and I hid Diana's body somewhere in this Voorhees house so that
I feel like he was like basically setting it up to where like it would be this huge reveal and like all of this fucking, he was basically making television. Like he was just like making this
so shit. He planted a dead corpse, an actual person, his girlfriend's mom's corpse. He stole it and planted it in the Voorhees house so that it could be discovered on live television and get good numbers for TV so he could get a promotion or something.
Yeah, literally. like what a sociopath. And he's like, it's just funny because like this show has a lot of the Dateline show like has a lot of funny moments. Like we see like literal footage like that was shot like by the DP of this movie of like the coroner, and he's like, this coroner died, and it's like literally like footage from the previous scene, and we're like, how did you get that?
Yeah.
Like this does not make any fucking sense.
So the movie we're watching also exists in this world. Like the people who shot this movie also shot the scene in the hospital like morgue that is now being broadcast on television to the characters we're watching. Is like such a meta humor.
It's so funny. And then in this program we are introduced to the best character of this movie, Creighton Duke.
Creighton.
What makes Creighton so great? Like, what is it? I don't like it.
It's his line that he says about the little girl in the pink dress sticking a hot dog through a donut. That is never the person interviewing him who says 2 words for you, Jason Voorhees, and then he spits out that fucking line about the hot dog through a donut. The interviewer doesn't say it. Aha! What do you mean by that, Creighton? No, he just fucking rolls with it, right?
I think it just cuts to the next scene.
Yeah, he just fucking, that's it. There's no explanation for why he said that. I guess, like, all I'm thinking about is sexual innuendo, but the fact that he said little girl, and also the fact that he said pink dress, I'm like, this, okay, if he would have just said a little girl sticking a hot dog through a donut, that's weird. But little girl in a pink dress, that makes me think she's wearing like a fucking child's dress. Like, what girls wear pink dresses? Pink is like what you dress up your like baby in because you're saying this kid is a girl.
So do you think he was in a way trying to insinuate that Jason was trying to take over little girl? Jessica's daughter. Stephanie or Diana. They're all Voorhees
Wait,
women.
which one's Stephanie?
Stephanie's the baby.
Okay, yeah, Jessica's daughter, Stephanie.
And he's like insinuating that it's like sticking a hot dog through a donut. Could be a sexual innuendo, but it could also be the dagger that needs to be stuck through Jason's heart in order for him to finally...
No, I think Creighton is trying to say that Jason is trying to stick his hot dog through Stephanie's donut.
Oh my god. But realistically, though, I think Creighton was just fucking trolling this dude. He's in...
There's a scene when Steven and Crichton are in jail together. Like, they can touch each other through the bars. And Steven's like... Crichton is talking to Steven. I don't think Steven even, like, gives a fuck who Crichton is.
Yeah.
He doesn't know who the fuck this is. Crichton's like, you're Steven, right? You had a baby with the Voorhees girl, right? And he's like bringing him in. He's like, I have more information. I know how you can kill Jason. Jason's the one doing this. Jason's back. He's possessing people. He's like, Crichton just knows all this shit. And he's telling Steven, like, right off the top. Like,
but he doesn't tell him right at the top.
And
because
wait. And then Crichton is like, I'll tell you more. You just have to give me something. And he's like, what can I give you? I don't have any money. I don't have nothing. He's like, give me your hand. He gives him his hand through the bars, and he just snaps his fucking finger. He just breaks his finger. And I'm like, Crichton, you sick bastard. What are you doing? Is this some sort of, like, satanic ritual that you're doing from the Necronomicon? No, he's like, all right, what's the secret you're going to give me? He, like, tells him a little bit more information. He's like, so, actually, Diana is Jason's half-sister. And then he's like, oh, fuck, tell me more. And he's like, give me your hand. And then he gives him his hand, breaks another finger, and he's like, and Jason needs a Voorhees person, blah, 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 to come back to life, or whatever. He's like, fuck, why'd you break my finger again? He's like, give me your hand again. And then he breaks another finger and gives us some more information. And then it's like cut scene.
Yeah. He's like, why did he break his everything? Hand? I think he just was like, Creighton's the type of guy. First of all, he literally said, I know how to kill Jason and I will do it for $500,000. That's his price.
Jason's bounty is $500,000.
Which is too low in my opinion.
I don't know, like, all you older people out there listening to our podcast, I was born after this movie came out. Like, I live in a world, I've only ever lived in a world post Jason Goes to Hell coming out. But the world I know, I would imagine $500,000 is a bit low for Jason. Like, if Crichton, if you can kill Jason, you're saving hundreds of lives potentially.
Yes.
And you are also getting revenge on someone who, there's countless families who have lost people to Jason. Like, think about all the people who are dead in this town at the hands of Jason. They would chip in. There would be a fucking GoFundMe. You could at least raise like $2 million to kill Jason in the world I live in. There's fucking multi-billionaires. Like, $500,000 isn't that much to kill Jason. Think, like, people make more money than that selling a fucking NFT. Like,
this is so true.
I'm like, Jason's only worth $500,000? Like, Crichton, you gotta put your fucking price higher, bro. You could be a billionaire off of this shit. Jason is the biggest NFT. Like,
$500,000 and 3 broken fingers is Crichton's fucking price.
He just wants. He's just in it. He's a sick fuck. Yeah. Crichton doesn't even take the money.
And then at the end, he's just like, it's not even about the money anymore. I'm like, it should have never. He's
in it for the love of the game.
What did it take?
He's in it for the love of the game.
Why didn't you just like? He was so cryptic the whole movie, and it's just like then when it finally matters, when Jason's in the fucking like room, he's like, here, okay, the way to kill him is that Jessica needs to take this dagger and stab Jason. It has to be Jessica. It can't be Steven. It has to be useless ass Jessica. she has to stab him because only a Voorhees can kill the Voorhees. And then he gets, like, killed via bear hug by Jason. And I'm like, you could have saved.
Yeah, Crichton's death was so
lives.
unceremonious. It was like
it was
the most
sad.
boring fucking, like, Crichton Duke. If you're gonna introduce Crichton Duke, the Duke,
If you will.
if you're gonna introduce the Duke, one of the best characters, like him and Tommy Jarvis, might be the best fucking non-Jason characters in the whole series.
Yes.
Like, you're gonna introduce him, and the way he dies is just like
Being
off screen, not that gory.
Yeah.
Like, pretty quick. Like, come on.
Yeah, but I guess because at this point, like, Crichton's, like, your favorite character in the movie, and I feel like they don't like giving, like, the favorite character, like, the character that's not, like, the secondary villain, like, a, you know, a, like, crazy death. Like, but also they didn't even really give I would say the secondary villain is the Dateline reporter guy, because he is an asshole.
You know what's funny is, like, Crichton Duke is such a horror movie trope. And this might have started around the time of, like, Halloween, John Carpenter's original Halloween with Dr. Loomis.
Yeah.
Dr. Loomis is, like, the expert. He's like, I know all about Jason. Like Dr. Loomis is like, I know all about Michael Myers. I'm his fucking, like, therapist or something. Like, whatever Dr. Loomis does to Michael Myers.
Find out the info.
He knows everything about him while he's imprisoned. He's, like, psychoanalyzing and psycho-evaluating Michael Myers. Mm-hmm. And then when Michael Myers breaks out, he, like, knows his every move. He, like, he's, like, obsessed with Michael Myers. That's, like, Crichton Duke with Jason. And there's countless other fucking... We were watching with our friends just the other day, Garrett and Hannah. Shouts out to Garrett and Hannah.
Shouts out.
And Katrina. Shouts out to Katrina. Katrina the Chi.
We love
you.
her.
So, also shouts out to their pizza. It was fucking bomb.
Oh my god, they made like the
I'm
best
a pizza connoisseur. Shouts out to the vegan family.
Shout.
Shout. Anyways, they had us watch Idle Hands. It's this movie we've been wanting to watch together. It's a stoner horror movie. I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's pretty fucking good, but there's a character in that movie who is like I know what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I know all about this, like, demonology and satanic shit in this fucking unholy ritual that happened, and I can stop it.
Yeah. Just like the all-knowing, like, I love an all-knowing. That, like, I feel like in Evil Dead 2 there is a similar, like, you can do countless, waxwork, grandpa knew.
So in the Evil Dead, there's a good point. In the Evil Dead series, the, like, Necronomicon, if I remember correctly, the book is being studied by someone's father or grandfather or something who was in the cabin most recently, and then they, like, go to stay in their, like, family cabin, and they find in the basement all of this, like, all these tape recordings and the book, and it's been studied, and, like, there's these logs of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of, like, not in the movie, but through the recordings, there's, like, an expert on the Necronomicon.
Yeah.
There is, like, the daughter of that person.
But yeah, Crichton Duke, pour one out. We love him. Didn't mention him in the kill count because his death was lame, but he is. We are very fond of that character.
Yeah, he's sick. One thing I want to talk about is we complained so much about the last movie not actually being in Manhattan.
New York,
in New York at all. Like, it's in the water on a boat in New Jersey, like, going to Manhattan. So, total fucking boner kill. It's like buzzkill as fuck. So, do you feel the same way about this movie? Because personally, I don't.
I don't at all.
I don't care. I honestly don't know if I expected to actually go to hell.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because, like, even when I, like, looked up that picture of like, the special effects guy, like, there's these weird, like, demons next to Jason, and I sort of, like, and I've seen that picture before, so I was picturing kind of, like, this crazy hellscape thing, at least for a little bit, but I'm not mad that we didn't get it, because I liked how we're in Crystal Lake, but we're not focusing on teens. I mean, there's like 3 teens that get killed. The rest of them are literally like townies, people in the community that know
It's a
Jason.
lot of cops and
lots
like
of cops,
coroners, reporters, like
just like
random news people, kind of.
It's so different because it's not like, it's literally like we get like 3 gratuitous teen kills doing teen things, fucking in a tent. That's like the typical Friday the 13th formula. We get like this whole fucking like this
family drama.
Yeah, like it's a whole fucking thing, and I didn't really think that we needed to go to hell, and honestly, like the ending where he's just getting dragged by hands, and then the last little Freddy Krueger tie-in,
which was another thing I was going to bring up after this, but so we can go right into that after I say my piece about it. So, like, this movie, if you talk to certain fans, they'll be like, yeah, it's the worst one. There's not that much Jason, and there's not hell. Like, and they're right. They're like, you don't see Jason with the hockey mask. But it is still Jason.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, if you go back to the origins of the franchise, like, the first movie, Jason's not the killer. The 5th movie, Jason's not the killer. In the 2nd movie, Jason doesn't have a hockey mask. In the 3rd movie, he gets a hockey mask halfway through, mm-hmm. and before that, you never see his upper body.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, like, at that point in the franchise, Part 9, you are accustomed to seeing Jason in the hockey mask, but we've seen before that, like, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you can... For a Friday the 13th movie to exist, it's not necessary that Jason be in it in a hockey mask the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I forgive that, of course. Like,
yeah.
I don't care.
Ain't mad about it at all.
Yeah, I'm not mad that we don't get to see more Jason, like, in a hockey mask. With the Goes to Hell thing, it's almost like, I almost never expected that. Like,
yeah.
How the fuck would they shoot an entire Friday the 13th movie inside hell, or like even a scene of it inside hell? You know, like,
yeah. Also,
it would be ridiculous. It would be funny funny to imagine that, but when I see the title Jason Goes to Hell, I'm more imagining it like figuratively.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Go to hell.
Yeah.
Like the character says, it's like.
Yeah,
Jason goes to hell. Like, yeah, at the end he gets dragged to hell.
Yeah, because I feel like it would be, like, pretty hammy for, like, if we just pictured Jason with, like, weird demons or whatever, I think that would be, like, I don't think that would have been the move. I think it would have been a little bit,
yeah.
This is dumb.
But it does make sense for the branding and the time in which this movie came out, like, I think about the 90s and especially the early 90s, and that was the start of this whole, like, 90s extreme, like, the comic Spawn is a perfect example where those comics and, like, 90s comics in general, the muscles are so giant. The, like, violence and, like, extremity is so, like, gratuitous to where people are just, like, the lines are so corny. It's like, yeah, I'll blow his fucking brains out, man. And it's like, the characters are like, everyone is like a fucking high school stoner. Like, 90s shit is like, imagine the kid in like your high school with like the backwards hat on and like a skateboard. And, like, he's throwing up the, like, hang loose fucking hand sign.
Listening
it's
to
like,
ska.
Like, imagine, like, that's what he wants from a movie, and that's, like, this Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
It's like
Exactly.
it's like fucking MTV'd out. It's crazy. It's like Mortal Kombat and
That's so
all
funny.
these different like. The 90s was just extreme, man.
Yeah. The decade of excess. Love it. So should we talk about Freddy?
Yeah, so like the end of this movie is basically Jason gets
Dragged to hell.
But how does Jason die?
So okay. So
when all
which
is
we
said
should talk
and done,
we should talk about these characters.
his second death.
So Jessica, remember Jessica's a Voorhees. Jessica, or I guess a half of Voorhees.
Half Voorhees.
Half Voorhees.
Or no, she's half Voorhees,
yes.
half some other bitch.
Yeah. so
we
Jessica,
also, before you get into this, at some point talk about the snake Jason climbing up the pussy.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Diana's pussy.
Okay.
Dead pussy.
Okay. I'm gonna try to say just the last kind of scene. In this last sequence of events, Jason had possessed a cop. Steven chopped the cop's like head basically half off. And so then a snake, Jason, comes out of his neck.
Kind of similar to the snake on the cover of the movie.
Yes. He falls he like falls away. I think like Steven fucking like baseball bats him to the basement, where if you remember, the fucking asshole reporter put Diana's body in the basement. Steven asked Creighton, who's still alive at this point, hey, does the body of the Voorhees person that Jason, like, possesses need to be alive? And Creighton goes, no. Why? Oh, also, like, in that earlier scene, Steven was eavesdropping on the fucking reporter. So that's how he knows that Diana's body's in the basement. So as soon as Creighton goes, no, why? Jason pops up in his full form. And basically, Jessica is the only one that can kill him at this point. So she has this fucking knife. This magical knife thing. She, you know, obviously, like, there's a struggle. She drops the knife so many fucking times. I was, like, screaming at Jessica she was being a dumbass.
Yeah, she's kind of a dumb final girl.
We're not big Jessica fans, big Steven fans, but not big Jessica fans. But anyways, long story short, she does eventually stab him, and that opens this kind of portal. There's lights and all this shit, and these giant hands drag him down to hell. And then
giant, like, mummified zombie hands.
They're, like, really big. So he just gets dragged down. All that's left. And then Jessica and Steven just, like, walk off into the sunset. And then we go back to the hockey mask. That's, like, the wind's blowing off sand off of it. And it's uncovered or whatever. Then we see Freddy's hand grabbing the hockey mask and dragging it down. And we hear his laugh. And that's the last shot.
So you're like, oh shit, Freddy is gonna fight Jason in hell.
Yeah. And it's like, oh my god. And it's just like that crossover that people want. And that just sets up, I mean, that kind of, I imagine if you saw this in theaters or like.
That would be like a Marvel level, like, post-credit scene.
Yes.
Like, oh fuck.
That would have been cool to see. Like,
I know. Imagine seeing that shit. You're like, I bet if you watched that in theaters, you were like, I didn't know this was possible. I didn't know, like, movies could do this. You could have a fucking crossover with the two biggest horror movie things. Like, just like enter into the one movie.
That was probably a huge moment. I feel like. Yeah.
It's sick.
It is sick. One thing I do want to bring up while we're like semi on the topic of the final two, Steven, the original concept for the movie was that they were gonna bring Tommy Jarvis back and basically have him end up with Jason Voorhees' like niece. But he did it unknowingly. But New Line only had the rights to Jason Voorhees. So we got Steven, who is a great character, but imagine
Steven is a pretty good character, but he is a Tommy ripoff.
Yeah, it's like
there's a scene with him behind bars talking to Crichton, just like how Tommy was behind bars and how he tricked the like guard who was watching him into letting him free or whatever.
Yeah, and I would say he has a similar personality to Part 6 Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah, sure. He's like very like he's like fighting people.
Yeah.
Like
kind of a wise ass.
Yeah. He's got a love interest. Mm-hmm. They're both young. They're running all over the town together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this movie rocks. Okay, should we wrap it up?
Yeah, probably.
I think we've said all we need to say.
Well, I feel like this episode might have come out as kind of a mess.
It's okay though. We tried.
Sorry. If it came out as kind of a mess, we might go back to the old format after this of just going through the plot because we ended up talking about most of the plot
during the deaths, and we didn't go through all the deaths. It was like...
Here, I'm having a revelation right now live on camera for you guys. So maybe we should just like, when we're going through the plot, you can say like boring parts of the plot, but let's just like fast forward through it. It's like we say like blah blah blah. Anyways, then this happens, then we talk.
Yeah.
Instead of okay. It's all my fault, guys. My issue with the fucking old format was just that I felt like we were spending so long talking about the plot when really what I wanted to do is like just get everyone on the same page with the plot to begin with, so we could just talk about the movie.
Yeah.
But now my issue with our current format is that we talk about the entire plot in such a short amount of time that we can't fully be on the same page with you guys when we want to talk about our ideas about the movie because you don't know what happened.
Yeah. And we have to do a lot of like backtracking
and revisiting things we've already said or skipping over stuff.
Needless to say, we will
dial it in.
We're gonna dial it in. We're gonna make it.
This is the first season, baby.
This is the first. I always say like first season. We're getting through it. It's pretty good still. I think we're good. We're doing a good job. But
yeah, I do too.
Season 2, y'all, you're not fucking ready. We're gonna have 2 mics. I'm gonna figure out how to work fucking Adobe Audition, and we're gonna actually like take our time and like fucking, it's gonna be sick. So just hang on with us for season 1.
Also, wait, I wanna make one more point with the tent kill because I just looked down at my notes. So we were watching this fucking movie. And we were watching it with Hannah and Jordan, our roommates. All of us watching it together. None of us have seen it, as far as I know. And our roommate Jordan does not watch horror movies, like, really at all. And so we just watched this gratuitous sex scene. She's, like, riding his fucking dick. Obviously, he is inside her. And then Jason stabs the spike through her body. And at that point, she's got, obviously, a spike sticking through her chest. And then you see him lift it up or whatever. But when it was just stabbed through her chest, Jordan goes double penetration. And I fucking died laughing. She had a fucking penis inside her and then got stabbed by Jason. And Jordan says double penetration.
Shout out to Jordan.
Shouts out to Jordan.
Iconic. Iconic joke. I'm glad you remembered that.
Look.
Oh my god, that's funny.
That's why I said that.
That's so good. That's
also, when the cop got shaved.
Shouts out to the cop that got shaved.
Shouts out to the cop.
Okay, what
Shouts out to the fact that I'm sure after this movie, none of the events in this movie are ever referenced
I'm
ever
sure,
again,
yeah.
and Jason doesn't have a sister anymore.
I don't know, I'm holding on hope that, I know Jason X is gonna be a departure from anything.
He's gonna go to fucking space, bro.
But maybe, then after it's Freddy vs. Jason, right?
Yeah.
I think that does...
We're late for Joe Bob.
Oh shit. Okay, we gotta wrap this up, y'all. Okay. Let's do out of... How many people does he possess? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Coroner. Cop.
Reporter, then Diane. Oh, then the other cop too, so 5.
5.
Okay.
Out of 5 possessions, what do you rate this movie?
I give this 5 possessions and an extra Jason snake. Because...
Out of 5?
Out of
so
5.
You give this more than perfect.
Yes. Y'all...
So wait, I'm pretty sure you didn't even give part 6 a perfect score.
I think I did.
So this is more than perfect.
I think I did. I'm pretty generous with my scoring.
So out of like all movies, like this is the most perfect, better than perfect movie. Like you could put this at the best movie of all time.
Y'all.
You're insane.
I think it's honestly because like maybe I think, you know, I am hasn't made a film since college. I'm a filmmaker. I really appreciate, I think, like, I love a lot of things about the background of this movie. The fact that a 23-year-old dude was just given a chance to make this bananas movie, throw in a fuck ton of references to other horror movies that we love. Without
we love all the movies you mentioned, too.
Without being too heavy-handed. Like, I didn't think that it was, like... I thought it was just the right amount of explanation. I love a fucking, like, there was that Dateline thing within the thing, and then it somehow turned into the reporter is, like, the secondary villain, which I liked. The only fucking flaw is that I'm not a fan of Jessica. That's the only thing. I love this movie, period. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up as quick as I can. I honestly don't know what score out of 5 to give this, but maybe it's so hard to say because is it my favorite? No. Is it better than a lot of them? I would say yes. Like, all right. So is it better than 6? To me, no. I think 6 is like a genuinely good movie. I feel like 6 is like in terms of the way it looks and the plot, it's like an exciting, classic type of tale. It's like a fucking Frankenstein type movie. Just from that opening scene. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. 6, amazing. It's good, like I've said before. This movie is so bad it's good, in a way. Because it makes no fucking sense to have Crichton Duke, this character. His name's Crichton Duke. And he says... Little girl in a pink dress sticking a hot dog through a donut.
Alright, y'all. That's it. You know where to find us. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, and also please follow us on MPGP_podcast on Instagram. We love you. We gotta go watch Joe Bob. We're like 30 minutes late. Bye!
Bye.